So basically, the body positivity movement is giving off the vibe that, you know, if you're overweight, if you're obese, if you're plus size, if you're fat, if you're whatever you want to call it, okay? If you decide that you want to make any changes to your body where you're no longer like plus size or as plus size or whatever, then for them it is an issue, because that means you don't love yourself as is, or you don't love yourself, period. Y'all, that is a crock of bullshit. I'm just gonna call that out. It is a crock of bullshit. We saw what happened with Lizzo recently. Same thing happened to Monique years ago when she first dropped the weight. People threw up. I thought you used to have a joke about skinny bitches, and now, you know, now you're losing weight. Oh, aren't you a hypocrite? When Adele dropped all of her weight or posted pics of her being much smaller now, folks also were like, oh, this is so horrible. And why are people congratulating her on her weight loss? And this is body shaming. And this is promoting diet culture. The notion that if I chose to do anything to change my appearance, then and then if I celebrated the success of changing my appearance, that somehow I was a part of a body shaming culture. I think people are mixing too many things together to try to make something that is not. It's bogus to me. We have to recognize that in a lot of scenarios, more than one thing can be true. For example, a person can be overweight and healthy. A person can be overweight and unhealthy. So what we can't do is dismiss the fact that obesity does add higher risks for many, many, many health conditions. It's just a scientific fact. We got to stop with this whole, you know, conversation sounding like we're some weird offshoot of Fox News. The reality is that a person can be overweight and healthy. They can be. But there's also the reality that people are overweight and are not healthy. And we have tons of data to support that, you know, the conditions like diabetes, respiratory issues, cancer, hypertension, so many diseases, even joint pain, the need for knee replacements, etc. So many conditions are derived from obesity. I feel the person has to know what's their status, you know, what is their situation if they're overweight. If you're overweight and you're healthy and there's no issue and you're fine, fine. But what we can't do is act like being overweight is not a high risk factor that can actually contribute to more disease. It's just a fact. Another example on this topic of where two things could be true at the same time. A person can be overweight and attractive, handsome, beautiful, fly as hell. We've all seen it. It's not an anomaly. That's a fact. What is also true, though, is that a person could lose weight and become more attractive. That's also a fact. And we've also seen that. When I am at a lower weight, and this is for me, when I am at a lower weight, I look better. Period. That's not me having some negative, toxic way of thinking about yourself. And, oh, you shouldn't say that. Look, I'm a grown-ass woman. This is not disturb. This is true. It's okay. This truth is okay. I know for me that when I lose weight, I look better. My skin is clearer and brighter. My face structure is more appealing to me. Okay? The way my body is shaped, the way my clothes fit, my whole swag gets better when I lose weight. And for me, I look like a completely different person when I lose weight And I look better without the excess weight. That's just a fact for me. Now, I personally know sisters out here who are plus size and fly as hell. Saying this again to say both of these things can be true. Okay? You can be overweight and attractive. It is also true that you could be overweight, lose weight, and become more attractive. Both of these things can be true. The last two things that can be true that I want to call out is the whole loving your body. It is true that loving your overweight body as is a positive thing. That is absolutely true. It is also true that wanting to change your overweight body isn't negative. I want to say that again, okay? Loving your overweight body as is positive. Positive. Loving your overweight body as is a positive thing. As long as that love doesn't make you ignore things you might need to tend to that's going to hurt you. So I'm speaking from a health perspective now. This doesn't apply to everybody. Again, everybody who's overweight doesn't have health issues. Okay? But you can't also say, I love myself, the movement. I love myself so much that even if I end up on, the 600-pound weight loss show thing, whatever, that's okay because I'm standing in my truth. We're not going to be ignorant. That's what I'm going to say on that. We're not going to be ignorant. But again, wanting to change your overweight body is not a negative. As long, because it's a caveat to that one too, as long as you are not doing anything harmful, detrimental, or reckless to make that change happen, you're doing it in the right way, in a healthy way, that's not negative. The last thing I think I'll close with is there is obviously this notion that how you look is an indicator of how well you love yourself. You cannot look at somebody and because they're overweight, say that they must not love themselves. Whereas you look at somebody who looks like they live in the gym and you think, wow, that person really loves herself. To make any assumptions about how much a person loves herself based on her size is ridiculous. What you look like on the outside is not an indicator of how much you love yourself. That is not how that shit works, okay? I think ultimately in Lizzo's situation, she gave the best advice when she said, do what you want with your body because it is your body. And I'm saying, I don't care what movement tells you. If you lose a pound, you're betraying the movement. I don't care what industry is trying to tell you that you're not fly if you don't look a certain way. Your being, your spirit actually is not your body. It's not your casing. Just like if you've been through something, you're not your trauma. You're also not your body. You know what I mean? So anybody attempting to define you simply by the appearance of your body, no matter what that appearance is bullshit. And people do a lot of effed up things. We know that. The most important part, though, is that you don't do it to yourself.